Yes? Who's influencing your life right now? What do they have you listening to, reading, watching, thinking, feeling, and believing? Who we allow ourselves to associate with can powerfully influence who we are and who we're becoming. Think about this. We tend to think like the people we spend the most time with. Our behaviors, habits, attitudes, and values tend to take on characteristics similar to the people we surround ourselves with. And more often than not, our income is really the average of our 5 closest associates. Many times we don't even realize how much we're influenced by others because, the effects are so subtle and they take place over time. And because of this, it is our responsibility to be aware of who we associate with. It is, we must stand guard at the door of our mind and monitor what thoughts and what ideas we allow to affect us. Les Brown calls it detoxifying your life. He also goes on to say that many times people don't reach their true goals in life because they're surrounded by too many negative, toxic, and energy-draining people. So knowing that it is our responsibility to, determine who we allow to influence our conscious and subconscious minds, what can we do? What actions can we take? And I was searching for this answer and I came across Jim Rohn, and I learned 3 ways that we can all take action to control our influences in our life. I'll list them out first and I'll go into each one in a little more detail. Number 1 is to disassociate. Number 2 is limited association. And number 3 is expanding our associations. So number 1, disassociate. Disassociating with people in our lives can be one of the most difficult decisions we have to make, but it may be necessary, especially if they're hurting us or if they're negatively affecting us. I mentioned that I've set recently some extremely unrealistically large goals, and these are goals that excite me and scare me at the same time. And naturally I have people that support me, and I have people that also tell me that I'm crazy, I'm out of my mind, why don't I just stick to the status quo, it's never been done before, it's impossible. And I'm starting to realize that these people aren't trying to hurt me or harm me, they actually care about me, but they're just trying to pull me into their own comfort zone, their level of certainty, and what they're familiar with. And this reminds me of a lesson I learned while growing up about buckets and crabs. And it was my first time going crabbing. I had to wake up at like 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and we're going to San Francisco. It was like an hour-and-a-half drive, and I was sleepy, it was cold outside, it was foggy, but at the same time I was so excited because it was my first time crabbing. And I started observing my uncle as he was filling up these buckets with crabs, and I noticed that he didn't put a lid on top of them. And I asked him, wasn't he afraid that the crabs would escape? And I went on to learn that, individually each crab can pinch and pull its way out to the top and escape. But when you have multiple crabs in a bucket, as one crab starts to escape towards freedom, the other crabs instinctively pinch and pull it back to the bottom with the rest of the crabs, so you don't have to worry about them escaping. So we need to think about our lives. Do we have people that hold us back? People that we take 1 step forward, they pull us back 2 steps? And if we do, we may have to take that difficult decision to disassociate in order to reach our goals and live the life that we truly want. The second way to take control of our influences is limited association. So we all have the power to limit our time that we spend with others that may not be directly aligned with our direction or with our goals. We have a fixed time on this earth, and we need to be aware of who we spend our time with. Another personal story I wanted to share with you is I have a bunch of friends that, after work, first thing we go straight to is a restaurant or a bar, really to drink, to eat, and really complain about our work or life, And this became a habit. But in the moment, it's easy to say, just one more drink, or one more cheesecake, or my favorite is one more chocolate cake with ice cream. But these results accumulate over time, And I started getting into personal development, and I was looking at my past behaviors and my current results at that time, and I was looking at my body and my bank account, and I wasn't too happy. So I had to make changes, and I started to realize that, the people that I was hanging out with really influenced my actions and my behaviors. And I also started to discover time management. We all have the power to, schedule time for work, but we all need to have fun so we can schedule time for play as well. We really need to prioritize and invest our time accordingly. So Jim Rohn says something very nice. He says it well when he says we must spend major time with our major influences and minor time with our minor influences. So the third way to take control of our influences is by expanding our associations. And this is where we should invest a lot of our focus and attention, because once we know our goals, once we know what we want in life, we could begin to build our network and surround ourselves with like-minded individuals. I highly suggest going to seminars, conferences, workshops on topics that we're passionate about, because naturally we'll surround ourselves with other people that share our passions and our interests. There are an abundance of clubs and associations we can join to surround ourselves and connect with like-minded individuals. You're all here this morning at Toastmasters. This is your first time here. I highly admire you for being here and taking action. You're on the right path. And once you connect with these like-minded individuals, it's important to model after them. How are they learning? Observe how they act, their work ethics, their behaviors, their attitudes. I'm learning that success leaves clues. And if you could pick up on these little clues, we could learn from the mistakes of others, what helped them out, what worked for them, and it's really a way to accelerate our success. So in summary, those 3 ways to take control of our influences and really our life are disassociation, limited association, and expanding our associations. One quick tip I wanted to share with you that I read last week in an article, it advises us to look at our calendar, the past 6 months, identify the 5 people that we spend the most time with. We have to ask ourselves 2 questions. What are these associations doing to me? And is that okay with me? Path towards your success. Thank you very much.